Finished the 5th season the other day, and honestly, this is top tier. This is definitely one of the best books I've read this year, probably one of the best fantasy speculative fiction books I've ever read. So, the 5th season is the first in a trilogy by N.K. Jemisin, and in this book, we basically dive into the world called the Stillness. Basically, in the stillness, the earth sort of comes alive, if you will. It like moves and shakes and does earthquakes, and those are, as you might imagine, pretty damaging for the people that live there. Are people in this world called orogenes. The orogenes have a special ability. It's sort of like the magic in this world, and they can control the earth, can stop the shakes, they could start shakes, that kind of thing. But in this world, the orogenes are very powerful, but they're also heavily patrolled and controlled and feared. And so there's a lot of interesting power dynamics in terms of the magic and in terms of how people with magic are treated, which comes across very clearly throughout our three different points of view. So the world sort of remakes itself every so often, and those are called seasons. And so the 5th season is, according to the back of the book, sort of how the world ends for the last time. In terms of pacing, I found the pacing a little bit slow in the beginning, especially with the different points of view switching back and forth. And once you get sort of to the halfway point towards the end, the pacing, it's pretty, there's just a lot of stuff happening, there's a lot going on, and most importantly, the pieces kind of start falling into place and the connections become more and more apparent. The plot twist at the end of this book, oh my god, I did not see that coming. This book ripped my heart out, honestly. Like, I was devastated by this book. When I closed this book and I finished reading the last page, I was like, oh my god, like, I need a minute to compose myself. It's that good. And I think what she does a really great job at is just covering a lot of really deep, dark topics and a lot of violence, but the violence isn't really shown on page. It's more alluded to in a very masterful way, and ultimately ends up being way more impactful than it would be if it was on page. And then you don't get into like the sort of weird violence porn situation. This is truly a speculative fiction book. And for me, the distinction is more like there's plenty of fantasy elements, as you can tell from what I described, but it takes a more literary approach.